with breaking news tonight. Multiple sources close to the case have confirmed that there is a hearing on Wednesday to discuss a plea deal with Bryan Kohberger.
If you remember, he is the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. Let's go ahead and bring in Andrea Dearden with us here for more details. Andrea, what does this plea deal like this one for this case mean?
Okay, well, so what we have heard, and we are talking to sources very close to the families, what we have heard is that in a part of this deal, he must plead guilty to all charges, right? And he is going to waive the right to any appeals. So this means those convictions will stand. They will be on the record. He will have no way to bring any kind of complaint forward or any kind of argument that those charges are not justified. Also, he will have life without the possibility of parole. So this takes the death penalty off the table, but means that he would never be eligible to be released from prison. And that's assuming, of course, all of these things in place, assuming that the Judge Stephen Hippler, who is the judge in this case, that he agrees that this is a fair plea deal. Okay, that still has to happen. So this is not finalized. These are the conditions that we believe that both the prosecutors and defense have agreed to. It is not on record yet. It is not official.
So what would make it not fair, I guess, in that case?
Sure. So the judge has to look at this and say, does it meet, does it make sense, essentially? He's also going to want to ask the defendant. He will ask Bryan Kohberger himself during the hearing, do you understand what's being suggested here? Have you, read all of the elements of this? Do you accept all of them? And are you doing this voluntarily? Because obviously the judge wants to make sure that there's nothing behind the scenes that is, not ethical or not legal, that this plea agreement actually meets the standards of law.
With that being said, though, does the family have any say at all?
So what we have heard from those families today, you've seen some of those statements. They are, speaking out saying, we had nothing to do with this. Yeah. We don't like the deal. We don't support it. And we understand we can't begin to put ourselves in their position. However, if there is anyone invested in this case and invested in seeing justice, it would be the families of those 4 victims. And so there is nothing in statute, there's nothing in code, nothing in ethical standards that say that victims of families have to be consulted or that they have any legal role in the outcome of a case or in the sense, a plea deal. However, it's not unusual for prosecutors to talk to families or to maybe give them a heads up. What we're understanding is that they were told that this was happening, not ask how they felt about it before it was put into place.
I think a big question that I keep hearing online as well is if the plea deal does go forward, will we ever know really what happens?
The reality is that takes the trial away. So there will be no trial. There would be no place where we would hear that. So it would be up to prosecutors or defense attorneys, which would be even more unusual, but it would be up to prosecutors if they choose to release information or to share information. That would be up to their sole discretion. There's nothing that would require that.
I have to quickly ask, though, could this be like a strategic move from the defense side, maybe?
Absolutely. I think that people see a plea agreement oftentimes, and we think of this as a settlement or mediation. In most cases, people view it as strategic on both sides, both the prosecutor getting a guarantee of a conviction, of convictions on all charges, a guarantee of life in prison, and from the defense side, obviously not taking their chances at trial. It also, people would argue that it doesn't put the families through seeing the photos and seeing all of the evidence. It also saves a lot of time and a lot of money on both sides. So it's seen as strategic in every way.
Yeah, definitely a developing situation, something we're keeping an eye on. We have our Aspen Shumpert, who will be continuing our coverage here in just the next few minutes. Thank you.